Welcome to another edition of the Columbia Cougars Coaches Show as we recap the season, the regular season at least, the Cougar softball squad. With us is head coach Wendy Spratt. Coach, welcome.
Thank you.
It's dry in here.
It's
dry.
dry.
I know the tarp's gotten quite a workout at the softball field. You start the year off with technically a snow out, I guess, with the outfield, I guess, from the snow that crazy Monday we had in mid-Missouri, and then a couple of games here at the end of the season that got rained out. There were non-con games that you couldn't get, the Lindenwood doubleheader remade up, and the Culver-Stockton games here at the end of the year. Big deal, not a big deal?
Non-conference games,
Yeah.
probably not a big
Right.
deal. Monday should have been senior day,
Right.
so that's kind of a big deal, but we're going to just do that on Friday.
Do that on Friday when you get into the tournament action. The regular season, you finish overall 27-14, 13-3 in the AMC conference. We'll get into the conference talk here in just a second. But as far as the overall season, obviously we've talked throughout the season about the scheduling of tough opponents, and a majority of those losses are to top 10 teams, if not top 8 teams. It seemed like every time you were on the road, you were facing a team that had a single digit in front of their name, and beating some of them, and hanging really with the number one team in the country through most of that first game of their doubleheader. Talk a little bit about the play of your team and your recap, I guess, if you will.
They've actually been amazing. I mean, truly, at the beginning of the year, I scheduled tough because I wanted them to see the competition.
Right.
Because I think in their mind, when you think of a number one team, you think of this great team that you can't beat.
Right.
So to go see them, be on their field, take them into extra innings, almost beat them, I
Right.
think now it kind of levels the playing field. So as we go into nationals, they're not intimidated by anybody they've seen,
Right.
most of the top 10.
Yeah.
So I think that really gives us some momentum going in. They know everybody's beatable, and I think seeing the types of pitchers that we have throughout the year has made us stronger at the plate. I mean, if you look at our batting averages, they've suffered a little because when you're playing pitchers that throw one hitters or two hitters or three hitters, it's different than when somebody gives up 10 to 12 hits a game.
Sure.
But they've really come through in clutch situations and done an amazing job.
And especially when you talk about the entire left side of your infield are freshmen, with Marley and Kristen Eichen there, and so you get a young team as with really all of the. And it seems like a broken record, really, with all of the coaches that we've had on the Coaches Show, but everybody had quite a influx of new blood and new players at new positions, and trying to get the infamous chemistry word, and figuring out how you were going to play everybody and to perform as well as they have. That's got to be a big plus, not just for the rest of this season, but the next couple of years in advance.
Right. We had talked about earlier that chemistry and whether or not that was going to come together, and I think it actually did before we went on spring break. I think when you go spend a week with somebody in a house, you kind of get to know each other very, very well by the end of the week, but I think it was really solidified before that. They all get along, they all support each other, they're all happy for each other when they do well, and supportive when they don't do well and don't perform. So
And off the
it's
field,
like a family.
yeah,
So.
and off the field too, at the gyms, at the basketball games and volleyball matches, the different athletes from the other sports are helping out in different capacities, whether it's ushers or whatever the case is, and you'd see a lot of the new faces that were all the volleyball, or the softball team together, and then you finally get to see dirt and get playing and get going a little bit. Conference season, you knew it was going to be another run down the stretch for you guys at the top of the conference, along with Williams Baptist, who's really put together a good team in the last couple of seasons. And you shared the conference regular season championship last year. You end up winning the tournament and go to the national tournament. This year, same deal. Finished 13-3. They finished 13-3. I guess we need to thank Harris Stowe a little bit for giving them a loss. That helped out a lot to give them their third loss. Let's go through the conference a little bit. I mean, really, with the exception of some early losses, the big doubleheader with Williams Baptist was where it came down to.
Yeah, it did. I think what hurt us really was Val's injury.
Yeah.
We split with Missouri Baptist and lost to McKendree in that same week.
Right.
I had to take Val out of a game.
Right.
That doesn't happen very often in
I
her
don't
career.
know. Yeah, other than the leg injury a couple
She was
seasons
injured.
ago.
She just, at that point, couldn't throw.
Right.
So we went to the doctor, and he told her she wasn't going to hurt it any worse. She's just going to have to deal with the pain. A lot of pitchers would have been done at that point because they couldn't endure the pain.
Right.
Val's tried a lot of different things to try to figure out how to make it work. She still has it. It's not as bad. She works around it. She found a way to be successful anyway. So it's been amazing to watch her compensate for that.
Yeah, which is amazing because you would never, I know I certainly didn't when I'm facing her, but that's a whole nother story. Which is on a previous episode on ColumbiaCougars.com and here on MediaCom Channel 22. And then that doubleheader with Williams Baptist, really that first game, I think there was probably 6 things that took place in that game that I don't think I've ever seen before. You probably haven't seen a couple of them before. That back and forth, and you get the big home run from Rachel Coleman to tie it, and I think you were about this high off the ground on the celebratory leap over there, and it goes 12 innings, and then the second game they come back and get you, and that run differential is the difference between them being the 1 seed and you being the 2, even though you are co-champions of the AMC conference.
Right, and that's tough. I mean, last year we run ruled them in the second game, so
Right.
there was no question.
Right.
But to go extra innings, and we asked a lot of Val that day to pitch 12 innings and then come back and pitch 7. But, I think, we're going to perform, and the games are a little bit more spread out now. We play this Friday, next Tuesday, and then the following Friday.
Play who you've got.
So-
Hannibal is the first team that
Hannibal.
you'll face, and we'll get into a little bit of that matchup. A team you just played not that long ago, actually, a couple weeks ago. So we'll talk about that. The Cougars into the AMC conference as the 2 seed, taking on Hannibal at Columbia College on Friday. And we'll talk more about the conference tournament and also about another accolade for Valerie Teeter, as Coach just mentioned here, an honor for her in the AMC conference. We'll get into that and preview a little bit about what's up the rest of the way for the Cougars after this on ColumbiaCougars.com.